Bridging Universes, our podcast. Can I just say how beautifully proud I am of us for having such a beautiful thing for people to listen to
We
and
have
for
a
us to
fun
chat
little work
waffle?
project.
Oh, what?
I said we have a fun little work project together.
We do.
And you
Welcome back,
guys are
everyone.
part of it.
Yeah.
It's fun.
Mm-hmm.
So, today, how
Firstly,
do you feel?
Firstly, I just want to say to everyone to start their day, wherever you're listening to this, if it's in the car, if it's on the train, traveling across India, if it is in your bed right now,
Or maybe it's work.
on the train towards work, this podcast is going to be really good for you. Also, I just want to say have a nice day
Enjoy your day.
from us. Have a beautiful day and don't be too hard on yourself and make sure you're getting enough rest.
Actually, why don't we start with like a short few minutes breathing and taking a little rest right here, right now.
Okay, sounds good.
So, wherever you are, if you can, close your eyes. If you're driving, please
We're
do
gonna
not.
sit.
If you cannot, keep them open. Let's just breathe out wherever you are. Breath in through the nose, out through the mouth. Do 3 more in your own rhythm. If your hands on your knees, or you can put one hand on the belly, one hand on the heart. And just observe for a second how you're feeling, how the body is feeling, which thoughts are going around in your head. How are you feeling today? Just arriving in this place. Just taking a moment to be present with yourself, not trying to change, just being present. If you feel like there's a lot of tension in the body, maybe you can move the parts that feel tense. Can take a deep breath in and out with a sigh or whatever sound feels good to you.
Let it out.
And say a word of thank you for yourself for one thing you did today that you're really happy with.
What are you grateful for today? What is present in your life that's giving you joy, and be grateful for that thing? Is it your morning coffee? I'm grateful for our morning chat this morning. It was nice.
I'm happy that I got to drink my Thai milk tea.
Yeah.
I have a slight obsession.
So yeah, open your eyes back in the room.
Welcome back, and
Welcome
welcome back
back.
to yourself first.
Yes.
Why did we do this?
What?
Taking a moment to breathe and be.
Because we were practicing rest, and today's podcast is about rest.
And what is rest?
And what is rest? What does rest mean to us?
What
Why
is
is it
rest
important
to
to rest? How do some people rest and some people? Why do we need to rest?
Which types of rest are there?
Are there? Can we start get into rest? But I want to get into just quickly. We went to Mahon Song for the people that saw us when we went to Mahon Song.
The most beautiful,
is
beautiful, beautiful, beautiful
insane.
place in Thailand I've ever been.
It's so beautiful.
Please do the Mae Hong Son Loop if you ever get a chance. So gorgeous.
So gorgeous. But yeah, we went to do that for 3 days because we needed some rest, and we decided to take rest in Mahon Song for 3 days.
It was lovely.
It was lovely, right? The nature was beautiful. We were really high up in the mountains.
There were sheep next to our house, which I really love.
And rabbits.
And a rabbit.
A white rabbit, which is a sign of what? New chapters and new beginnings. What are we just about going into?
Very soothing.
What are we just about going into?
A
new beginning, a new chapter of the book.
We had a fire 2 nights in a row.
Oh my God, we did have a fire 2 nights in a row.
It was super beautiful. And we had, I think, one of the fanciest beds we've ever had
Yeah.
today.
If you haven't seen, go to our Instagram and go see the reel that we made. We're super happy with it. We really love it.
It felt like being in a commercial.
I know, it was so nice. It was our own little commercial. It was so nice.
We had, those who haven't seen it, a bed with a big window next to it.
Yeah.
And then behind the window was the most beautiful, beautiful setting you can imagine, with the mountains and nature and like waking up and the sun was peeking through and just opening the curtains and seeing that. That was absolutely
insane.
Amazing.
Yeah, it was so nice.
And also it was really nice because in Mae Hong Son, like in the region where we were, everything closes at 8 in the evening.
Yeah.
Which meant that we had to have dinner before 8. We had to get our snacks before 8. And then there was nothing left to do except sitting next to the fire and listening to music and chatting, laying down and sleeping.
Yeah, or making use of the bed. Sleeping, obviously. I mean, sleeping, guys. Come on. I meant sleeping. It was a really nice bed. The bed
It
was
was an
amazing.
amazing, and we had 4 cushions, which I loved
The bed was amazing. It was
because
super, a little
you
bit
can
harder.
never have enough cushions.
No, it was a little bit harder than what I'm used to, but I enjoyed it. And the pillows and the duvet was like super weighted, and it was massive. It was a big bed.
And it was like nice because we had 2 duvets and they were really heavy and warm, and it
Yeah.
was super cold outside, so you got to like.
Yeah. And for people that
Yeah.
don't know, Nadine likes to nick the covers at night. You know that people,
Dumb.
when you sleep, you wake up and you've got no covers. That's her.
It's a lie.
That is her.
This is absolutely a lie.
That's not a lie. That's
It
so
is a
true.
lie.
I wouldn't lie on the podcast.
You would.
I wouldn't. You take the covers. You
Don't.
do. Anyway, so the reason, yeah,
I
so
have never taken the covers in my life.
Mayhan Song was good. We decided to go away because we felt like what? We felt like we needed a bit of a reset. Feel
But
like we needed some
also,
rest.
I am leaving Pai
You are
in the
leaving.
next 4 or 5 days, and Jack is staying for another month.
Get to sleep in the bed on my own for the whole month.
He's gonna cry every night,
I'm gonna cry,
anyways.
yeah, into my pillow like.
But yeah, we're gonna be apart for a month for the
Yeah.
first time in 7 months, which is
Yes.
wild. So we decided that we wanted to have a little moment with just the 2 of us. And also we've been working really hard, and we will be working really hard next month. So we were like, we deserve a little moment of nothing. Because why is a little moment of nothing important?
Because we work so much and we're so busy in our active lives, aren't we? So like taking time to unplug and taking time to like just do nothing was so nice. And I felt like it was really needed for us to like spend some time together as a couple, just in our energy, because we're always constantly around other people all the time. And it's nice to have just us and feel that between us. And like you said, we've got a lot coming up, and the next few months are going to be, yeah, challenging. I was going to say challenging, but then, yeah, challenging, I guess. It's going to be interesting.
And also, one thing I always love to tell my Reiki students is like, we have to ground, we have to take breaks, we have to be alone sometimes. And that's the same with rest. And I truly believe that when we rest, when we have a moment of nothingness, so no phones, no distraction, it allows us to kind of integrate and to actually realize all the things we've learned. And especially in a world that goes so fast and in a life where you're doing so many things and learning so many things, taking the moment to like rest and breathe and be allows you to actually realize all the things you've learned and to take that with you into wherever you're going, instead of kind of it losing its magic and it losing all of its power because you're just constantly going and going and going, and you don't take the time to fully
Non-stop.
acknowledge where you are in that moment and where you've been and where you're going.
Yeah. And then you feel like before the trip, our lives are very like, we've been working a lot, right? So I feel like
Yeah.
things had really charged up. Like you said, I feel like it's good that sometimes you just have to like dissipate everything and like let everything out to recharge and reset. And sometimes you can't do that in a busy environment with loads of people around and like your social battery and stuff like that. Like it was so nice. We didn't even see like hardly any foreigners. I don't think we had a conversation with like other travelers or foreigners. We just literally spoke to each other for 3 days, which was like fucking amazing. It was so, so nice.
And it's also like, it's nice, especially because both of our jobs include talking a lot to other people, offering support and listening, and then to not do that, but also to simply just be together. It's so easy because we set time away very often to be just together, and we're not so good in actually doing it because very often we still get caught up in other things to do, or we're like, oh, wait, but
The
and
chaos.
now it was just the 2 of us.
The pie
which was very
chaos.
cute.
Yeah.
And we were driving a lot, so I had a lot of dancing and choosing music. We
Yeah.
discovered that I'm actually a pretty good DJ.
She's pretty good, yeah. She's
My
pretty good.
music taste is less terrible than you always thought.
Yeah, she was a passenger princess for 3 days, weren't you?
I offered to drive,
You did offer to drive. It was
but I was
nice.
very satisfied
It
not
was
to
super
drive.
nice. It was really, really nice to get away.
How did you feel after?
How did I feel after? After I felt super connected to you. Two, I felt like I had a real chance to just like relax for the first time. Like I stopped working for like 3 days, or like put off a lot of the work that I was doing prior to that. And it's actually crazy to think how, because of how much that we work, it becomes so normal and routine for us to do that. And it becomes part of our day, and we try to fit in rest around that. when actually like taking days off is like not something that I personally am that used to doing now. Like because we have so much to do that it's sometimes hard or it feels hard to take a day off. And I think through going there and realizing that I actually can stop to just work and do nothing was like so, so nice. And I know like the new chapter coming, I'm going to have less of the work that requires me to be constantly on my phone or to be constantly checking in with people or whatever. So I'm going to have less of that to do so I can focus more on other things,
Mhm.
which means that we can take more days to just completely reset and rest and like take a day off. Like, I don't know for you as well. I was saying to you before, like before we went, I was like, are you going to take a day off? And you're like, yeah, I'm gonna take a day off, and then you didn't take a day off.
I am really good in taking moments for myself.
Y
I do take my moments for my daily practice. I
mm,
do schedule in an afternoon or an evening for myself, but an actual full day of like not taking any responsibility, like not being like, oh, I have to post this, oh, I have to do this for my
yeah,
administration, I have to have this conversation with this client. Like,
mhm.
not fully doing that is something I absolutely did not do enough over the last months. And I think
I'm
that's
the
something I
same.
really realized because I would say I really do a great job of taking in moments and scheduling in like specific things, but a full day for my brain to just be for me and to just create and like have fun and laugh and walk. The
Calves.
buffaloes are
Buffalo have had
outside.
babies, and they're fighting with their, like, horns, like, "Ugh."
They're really cute.
We'll show you after.
But yeah, having that break was really good and I feel really recharged and like I had so many new creative things coming as well. Like I think that's a nice thing that I want to talk about. Like oftentimes we think that we should be productive all the time. And one thing
Yeah.
this break made me realize as well is that rest is actually making me more productive.
Yes,
Because afterwards we had a lot of ideas of things to do, but also a
yes,
lot of things started flowing again. And for my book, like I came up with like three new ideas of like how to work around it and which kind
yeah.
of projects to do. And everything just flows easier if you've had that moment of like, and that's not even only physical rest, it's also mental
Mental rest, of
rest.
course.
Because if our brains are constantly on, like you can come up with ideas, but you don't have like that creative juicy flow anymore at some point. And
Mhm.
we're both blessed with pretty creative brains, so we will
Yes.
always have like nice creative ideas.
Good a good
Uh,
idea, yeah. Good way of putting it, yeah. My brain is, like, constantly creative, constantly 24 hours a day, nonstop. I can't even imagine what my brain's doing when I'm sleeping. I have a question. You said that when you take mini breaks, you're used to taking mini breaks during the day. Do you feel like the mini breaks actually give you the rest that you need? Or do you think that you take the mini breaks and it kinda gives you, like, do you get the full feeling of actually switching off? Because I know when I take a break, like even through the day, like it's so hard for me to switch my brain off at that time because even if I'm not doing anything, can I say to myself, right, I'm going to go have a coffee and just sit and chill without my phone for like half an hour? Even when I'm sitting there chilling, I'm still thinking about work. But at least I'm not actually actively doing it and I'm actually actively, intentionally saying to myself, right, I'm not going to do this or I'm not going to pick my phone up. I'm not going to think about work. Although sometimes it does come in.
I think that's like something you can train because I've gotten really good in like I oftentimes even love to set a timer
Yeah,
because
that's a good one.
if I don't set a timer, I will be like, oh wait, I have to do this, I have to do that. But if I set a timer of like 30 minutes, 45 minutes, and I just tell myself, okay, I'm just gonna focus on drinking my tea, going for a
Yeah,
walk, I can pretty easily switch my brain off
yeah.
and just not think about it at all. And besides that, like if I'm really, really tense, I know that I should just do something to drop into my body. So I will like do a meditation or I will
Mm,
move my body and then I automatically after a few minutes I'm like do do up in
yeah.
space or
I
fully
like
in my body
flowing.
and I'm done.
I like flowing when I'm like that sometimes because it still because the thing is like rest can look so different for so many people, right? Like rest can be like you said in those 30-minute periods when you have a rest, it could be like not looking at your phone, or it could be like just sitting with yourself and breathing. Like I know for some people that are like high achievers and high productors, like manifestors that are constantly, generating new creative ideas and new workflows and stuff like that, it's really hard to just stop and actually sit with yourself for like half an hour. I challenge anyone listening to this, honestly, as like a little challenge for yourself. Get things done that you need to get done, right? And then literally, what I want you to do is I want you to sit in your room or sit on the sofa or outside in nature, right? And I want you to set a timer for an hour, right? And I want you to literally try to sit with yourself for a whole hour without having to move and without having to read something or to, I mean, you can move around obviously, but it's a really good indicator of how far and how comfortable you are with sitting in your own energy without actually having to do anything. Now, I say this from a place of, I would find this really, really hard.
I
Right?
love it.
And I'm actually going to set myself this goal this week. I'm going to do it this week. I'm going to actually take the time to sit and record it and do nothing for a whole hour and see what happens and what comes up. Because I can imagine when you actually do that, the whole idea of that is that when you sit and you don't do anything, your brain is going to start to process things that it needs to process. And we don't have the chance to do that sometimes when we're moving around constantly working throughout the day and doing stuff and being overloaded with kind of so many different
Question.
questions.
Are we allowed to do like, are we allowed? Of course we are allowed, but do you mean like sitting and not doing anything? Or is it okay to do a meditation, to move your body,
Meditation's
to,
fine. Meditation is actually like the key, right? So like the fact that you're sitting with yourself is a meditation. You
yeah,
don't need to be sitting there with your legs crossed or sitting in some sort of, you don't need to be doing that. You just need to sit and you can close your eyes, you can open your eyes, you can look around, you can just try to be with yourself for that hour. And it's going to feel, for some of you, uncomfortable. It's going to, some of you, give you some idea of things maybe you need to work on or things that you need to, other things you may have forgotten that you need to work on, or it's just going to give your brain time to process. I would really love for you all to try that. I'm going to try that and I'll post it on my social media this week
go for it.
with what I actually learned and what I did. Because I've seen people do it and I've actually done it once before. I
Maybe
want
we
to do
can
it again.
both do it.
It's a
And
whole
then we can
hour
both make
and you
like
just sit with
a
each other. Yeah, you just sit for a whole hour and really it's like really interesting of what will come up and how you're going to feel.
it's like yes or no.
No music, no music, no TV, nothing.
Sure.
No journaling. Literally just sit for a whole hour with yourself. Thing,
Nice.
nothing else.
It sounds delightful.
So going back into rest, there's so many different ways to rest. Some people, like I said, when I'm working in a busy day, sometimes if I'm being overstimulated and my brain is like just so crammed full of work, me going to move my body and to flow. I know it's not the traditional kind of what we would say is rest because we're not sitting and giving our body rest like to slow down, but actually it's giving me mental rest because I'm able to switch my brain off and just think about flowing and moving my body.
And
So
I
for that,
feel like
is meditation.
actually, like, if I look at myself, if I give myself breaks and it's during the day, I will always do something physical,
Yeah.
whether it's yoga, whether it's dancing, whether it's going for a walk. And that's also simply because when, like, 100 years ago, we would
Mm.
be constantly moving our body. Right now, a lot of people are sitting behind a laptop so many hours,
Mm.
including me. And I feel like then if I need a break, I should actually start moving my body and get it flowing. Because also, what happens when you've sat behind a laptop for like a few hours and you start moving your body, energy starts flowing in a different
Mm.
way again, which
Mm-hmm.
then allows you to come up with more creative ideas. Little hot tip, I actually used to do this as well when I was doing my law master degree. Like, if I would be stuck with writing an essay or writing a paper or writing a research report, and I would sit there for 2 hours and it would just not work anymore, my brain, I wouldn't be able to
Mm-hmm.
fully function. I would stand up and go for a walk or go for a dance or move my body, and I would come back to my laptop and actually be capable of finishing it so much faster. Whereas if I would force myself to stay seated behind that laptop, it would take me, if I would just take 20 minutes to do nothing, not nothing, but like to move my body, I would be capable of like coming back into it. And that's, I think, an important thing to always try to do. So rest can be something physical, especially for those of us who sit a lot.
Yeah. Imagine, well, I was just picturing it in my mind, right? Is imagine like you're working at a conveyor belt, right? And the conveyor belt's moving at like a steady pace, and each task that you have, maybe for the day or your working day or whatever, is coming past you, right? So you take one and you start to work on it, you start to do it. When it's finished, you put it back and it's coming, and then you pick the next one up, right? So if you keep doing that for hours and hours and hours, at some point, the belt is going to stop. Like the belt is going to stop moving. And that means you can't no longer grab the things and do the things you need because you don't have, it's not flowing, it's not moving around. It's just you've done too much, right? So by going and resting, maybe the belt needs some time to rest. It's overheating, right? So it's overstimulated, it's overheating, and it needs time to just cool down again for it to start again. And then once it starts again, you can go back along with your day and carry on taking things off and fixing them.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
So,
So what else?
what is your favorite way to rest?
What is my favorite way to rest? This is a good point. I want to do this one. Hustle culture versus nervous system. My way to rest. I like to have a coffee. I like to sit and drink a coffee. Sometimes look at nature. I like to move my body a lot. Like if I feel like I'm working, even if I'm working for like 4 or 5 hours solid straight, I just get up and move around. Maybe I'll go for a walk. Like maybe I'll walk around where I'm working for 5, 10 minutes just to breathe. And actually, there's so many times during the day where I actually try to check in and try to take conscious breaths, like try to stop and just be like, right, I'm going to take like 5 fully breaths in and fully breaths out, because sometimes we get to the end of the day and we just like, wow, I didn't even breathe properly today. Like right now we're talking, but we're not using the full of our breath. We're just talking and using like the normal rhythm, right? But we're not actually taking full and like outwardly inhalations, exhalations.
I think
So
now that you're saying this, I think I really always want to have a day filled with like client calls on my laptop. Even if I have like 8 hours of calls, I always
yeah.
schedule in like half an hour buffer between every call. So
Yeah,
to make sure that if like one starts earlier or ends later,
Mm-hmm.
but I really feel good these days because those 30 minutes I always use to move my body and to breathe. So like even though I'm working a lot, I also schedule in and have a lot of time just for me. And
Mm-hmm.
I feel like for me, rest means a reset. It's more of a reset than rest. And it's more of like, what can I do for myself so that I can keep functioning well? And that's
Yes.
something that I say to you sometimes as well. Like, I need this to be able to
Mm,
function. I need
yes.
this to be
You
able to
do
do
say
my
that a
work.
lot, yeah. I think
And
for high achievers and for people that are highly productive, people that are trying to build businesses or running businesses or anything like that, we often find that we're taking rest during the day to try to become more productive, to try to actually give ourselves more time and more energy to be able to do the things we need to do for that day. And that's like why I wanted to go into when we rest, right? We sometimes feel like it's not productive, right? And especially if you're trying to run a business or something, when you're all of the time that you could be working for you, I kind of sometimes correlate it with like, if I'm resting, I'm not working and I'm not earning and I'm not moving forward. And sometimes it's really hard to do that when you gain momentum or when you gain like a really big spurt of productivity or when you're in like a real flow. It's sometimes really hard to stop that flow for me and to realize what I need to stop and I need to go and rest, because overworking for me can sometimes be a way of escaping other things as well. And I think for a lot of high achievers and manifestors,
creators in general.
yeah, creators in general, they have that thing where we constantly feel like we have to be creative and constantly have to let it out and let it flow. And I know for me, that's what I sometimes feel, is if like if I'm not doing that, then I'm not being productive and I'm not moving forward and I'm not making the use of my time, which I know is like not good
What
to say to myself, because I know that resting is productive.
I think that what has helped me in this, and that's also why I say that literally to you out loud, like I need this thing. For
Yeah,
example, I need to have half an hour and just cook myself a nourishing meal to be able to function.
yeah.
And it is true because I cannot sit and teach Reiki for 3 hours straight if my body is not fed and if
Mhm,
I'm not relaxed.
mhm.
So I think that what for me really helped was realizing that I need those things to be able to give my 100% the moments that I work.
Yeah.
And that took me quite a long time to get to that point. But right now, I really feel like every time, even when I have those hard feelings of like, oh, I have to do more and I have to do more, I really
Mhm.
realize like everything keeps flowing better if I take good care of myself, which is why I
Yes,
then tell myself, like, I need this, this, and this for me to function
yes,
my best.
yes.
And in the end, especially having your own company and having clients, like, what do you want to do? You want to give them the best of you,
Yeah.
which means that you have to give yourself the things you need to function in that way.
Mhm. I agree. I think as well for, especially for men, I'm not too sure about women, how women feel like this, but
It's generalized anyway. It can be different for anyone.
of course, but what I meant was for me personally, there's been points where I have constantly felt the need to work to feel like I am being productive, to feel like I am have value, right? And like I think we tie it to self-worth to how much we work sometimes. For me anyway, like in my own personal, I sometimes think the more I work, the more I get done, the more people are going to see, wow, he's really productive. Wow, he's actually worth something. And I feel like we tie that to our self-worth of how productive, how successful, how much we can achieve.
I think as a woman, you even, at least very generalized, have like this funny, interesting twist of the patriarchy to it, where a lot of women, especially who are feeling like we have to provide for ourselves now. We have to be able to do all of this, but at the same time, there's still the pressure or the expectation of like doing the things in the house or being aware that we kind of have the privilege of working
Mm,
compared to 100 years ago,
mm,
or working in still like a male dominated field where you feel even more pressures because you kind of like, you don't only have to work hard to do your work, you
yeah,
also
you have
have
to
to
prove
prove that
yourself,
you're
right?
worth it as a
Yeah.
woman and that you can do it as well as a woman. And
I
like
understand.
that puts like even more pressure on a lot of women, and especially if you think about it, like the 9 to 5 days are made for a male hormonal body,
Mm,
like a solar based body, whereas
not
a
even nine
lunar
to
based,
five. Like
no.
not even 9 to 5. Nine
That
till three,
is
maybe, or two.
that is created for male bodies who have a hormonal system of 24 hours, whereas a lunar based body, like a lot of women with a womb, we have a 28 to 33-day cycle
Mm,
and our hormones are completely different. Like
yeah.
in specific phases, especially in like during the bleed, it's not gonna work if you force yourself to work hard because
No.
our body is just in
Need to
that
rest.
moment, your energy is flowing in a different way and you need something else. So
We need
that
rest.
comes to it as well because you kind of pushed through that and then on top of that you're functioning. So it's so fascinating. And even like if I'm completely honest with myself, I do it even sometimes where I'm like, yeah, I know I'm in this phase of my cycle. I should not be doing this, but
Yeah.
I have a business. I have to get my stuff done. So
Got it
don't
done.
have that luxury of not doing it,
Mm.
you know?
Question. Overworking and feeling this pressure of like proving yourself, how does that go against your nervous system health? And how does it go against what actually we should be doing and how what we should be saying to ourselves and how we should be feeling about it?
I think in the end, if we can get our nervous system to be relaxed, we are capable of making decisions from a place of trust and
Mm.
of creating actions for us from a place of, I know that this will all be okay. And it's less frantic and less tense, which then also results in better results because
Yeah.
it's nicer for people to work with you. And therefore, like, putting all this pressure on ourselves and overriding our nervous system by putting our nervous system in constant like fight or flight, working
Yeah.
hard, like hustle, kind of
Hustle
like
culture.
it works against yourself because you're
Yes.
fighting against yourself in the end and you're fighting against your own nervous system.
Yeah.
So the body will start to at some point be like, hey, hello, this is not comfortable. And you're going to get like weird aches. You're not going to be able to sleep that well.
Yes.
You're going to be nauseous maybe, or you're going to overeat,
Well, you're
or
gonna
you're going
burn
to
out.
burn out.
Like burnout is a real thing, especially for people that
Absolutely.
overwork and people that burnout's huge. And the reason you burn out is because you're not listening to your body when your body needs rest. And just quickly, burnout, emotional burnout, nervous system, like burnout, general burnout is horrible. It's terrifying because your whole body just shuts down and you just can't really do a lot. And you start to have like sickness and illness, and up here is completely blocked and you can't, you know? So like we don't want to get to that. And I've most definitely got to that point a few times where I've been burnt out and I haven't. Hey Luca, come Luca.
You want to
No,
say
come hi,
hi?
come say hi. This is Luca, everyone. Say hi, Luca, to the podcast.
You're recording this. This is so nice.
Yeah, we're doing it right now. Say hi.
Hello.
Hi.
We're in Atlas at
We're
the
in Atlas,
moment.
yeah,
We're
for
at
people
the
that don't know.
hostel.
So yeah, burnout's a real thing, and getting to stop yourself getting to burnout is very, very important to prioritize rest.
One thing I would love to add to this, and this is
A nuance.
a little nuance.
Do you like this one? A
Why are you
nuance.
making
Because you always say, I just want to add this nuance. Sorry, go on. Continue.
Thank you, sir.
Continue on the
So
podcast.
polite.
Continue to speak, my dear.
in the end, I feel like what we should really realize sometimes is that it's not always about nervous system regulation. It's also about creating habits that you don't need to always
Yeah.
regulate your system. Because
Yeah.
sometimes, especially if we're a high achiever, we're like, okay, but I do these things and then my nervous system is calm. But then we put ourselves under a lot of high stress again.
Yes. Straight
Which is
away.
kind of like creating this little circle for yourself that is not always as beneficial as if finding ways to do the same amount of more work in a flow that does not put your nervous system in overdrive, that will actually be better. So integrating practices into your daily life. On top of that, making sure that your decisions and your life changes with it, like your daily habits. So you create like a life where you don't need to find rest from. Of course, we always still need rest, but less desperately. That will be very beneficial. So the
Very
little nuance
beneficial.
is, besides doing practices to regulate our nervous system, we should also slowly start changing our daily habits so that it's integrated and we don't need to desperately find rest because we automatically do that. Which
Yes.
would be an ideal scenario. And also
That would be ideal.
don't put pressure on yourself because
No.
pressuring yourself into rest is kind of like,
Forcing yourself. Pointless.
and when you force yourself to rest, you're not going to be rested after.
Oh.
Take it from me, I tried.
Because if you're forcing rest, you're also telling yourself that actually you don't deserve the rest and you're just doing it for the sake of it, which is just fucking pointless. So you might as well actually have the rest. Do you ever feel guilty when you rest?
No.
You don't feel guilty? You don't procrastinate like, oh, I should be doing this right now. I could be doing that. Or do you just rest and that's it? You're like rested now. Like you're switch off.
I take my rest oftentimes very intentionally, where I know like I've done the things I really, really need to do. The things I don't really, really need to do today, I will do tomorrow or in an hour. And then in that hour, it's pointless to me to think about it. I will just park it in my brain and be like, I don't see it. It's not here. I'm just now going to focus on this.
Yes.
So no.
Do you have like a tip for someone that is currently working a lot, a bit like us? We're in this kind of like, self-employed, entrepreneurial world where we constantly work for ourselves and we feel like we have to constantly, work all the time. Do you have like a tip for someone that they can introduce something very simple which will enable them to just have a rest?
I think I would do something else. I would journal or sit with yourself and write down all the benefits it has for you to actually rest. Because if you can acknowledge the positive sides of rest as well, it's so much easier to actually give yourself that rest. So instead of a tiny habit, like the tiny habit can be including rest in your everyday life in the way that feels good to you in that moment. But if you really struggle with feeling guilty, I would just make a list with all the benefits it has for you to actually do this for yourself. And then every
good
time
one.
you feel that guilt, you can just remind yourself of that list and be like, oh no, but actually it's okay. So it's kind of like a switch.
I think it's good for people to have like, if they work a whole week, to have one day off a week.
I would love that.
I used to do Sundays. You remember I used to do Sundays, no phone? So like for me, constantly being on social media, having to work on social media and manage and whatever, it's very important that I have one day. And to be honest, I've stopped doing that. I do have time off, but I have stopped having the Sunday day off. And I think I'm going to start to do that again. Sunday, I have no phone. And I know it's hard. I know.
You're not going to text me a whole day.
No, I'll text you, but I mean like not being on my phone. See, listen to her.
We're going to be apart for a whole month and you're not going to text me the whole day.
No.
Okay,
And this is another good point, right?
Sorry, I was making fun of you. Please do
You
that.
were making fun of me.
Please do that if that makes you feel better.
What?
Putting your phone away the whole day.
Yeah, I will at some point. The other thing is also having healthy boundaries around work for yourself, right? Like actually self-asserted boundaries to be like, I'm going to stop and have that rest day. And the fact that you're giving yourself that and the fact that you're actually intentionally saying to yourself, look, I'm going to have the day off, that will do more for you in terms of your productivity, two, the way you value yourself because you actually value yourself enough to say, I'm not going to work today. I don't need to work. I need to focus on myself and I need to focus on resting and giving back the energy that you give out into all of the projects you do back into yourself so that you can recharge, right? So having that chance to do that.
I think to make those boundaries easier, it can sometimes be really nice to just have them clear, like what are your non-negotiables, and communicate them before you start working with or for someone. So maybe that can be after 6 in the evening, I will not text you back anymore, but I will make sure that the next morning at 9, I will text you back. So having those boundaries, but also communicating them before the situation gets there that your boundary maybe gets crossed is such an easier way to actually fulfill those boundaries.
Yes.
So smart.
So smart. So we'll try and round it up. So we've talked a little bit about how we rest and what rest looks like for us. Maybe different for every person. Of course, it will be different. Why we need to rest, why it's important we rest, what it will do for our nervous system, what it will do in terms of our progress and in terms of our growth. Was your favorite part about the trip we had away? Resting. What was your favorite part about that?
I really loved seeing the sheep.
The sheep.
It made me laugh.
Inserting picture of sheep. Boom, here.
There was a sheep eating
so
a
fun.
tree next to our house, and it made me giggle. But it was like the whole moment because I just walked outside for a little walk, and we had like a morning coffee before, and then I walked back and I saw a sheep eating a tree. That really made me laugh.
Yeah.
But I also really enjoyed having a fire and just sitting next to the
Oh, the
fire, the
fire
two
was
of
so
us, and all
nice.
the stars, and it was really beautiful.
The fire was so
Like
nice.
that was probably my favorite moments. But if I think of that trip, memory that comes up very clearly is me just giggling about a sheep, to be honest.
Yeah, it was nice. And the rabbit. I just enjoyed resting. Sitting on the balcony, like outside of the house or what we were renting. Just sat there in the morning with my coffee, like looking at the view was like the nicest thing, you know? And like making the fire and just like sitting at the start. We watched the stars for like 20 minutes. It was just so nice.
great.
It was so resting. And there were multiple times during that 3 days where I sat with myself and just was looking into like, you know, the distance and just being like, I actually feel like I'm resting and I feel like I'm actually giving myself the rest that I deserve, which made me feel super nice. So guys, recap. If you are feeling like you're burning out, you're getting to burnout, or you feel like you're just overworked, take some rest. Take some rest. You deserve it. You deserve rest, you know? Don't feel guilty for it, although sometimes I know you might, but just keep telling yourself that you are always important and you always deserve rest when you want to take it. Make time for it and make it a priority because I feel like it's super important.
Maybe
your growth.
after you stop this podcast, just stay wherever you are
rest.
for next 5 to 10
minutes.
and just enjoy it.
Enjoy. Yeah.
Thank you for listening.
Thank you. We'll be back
We
again.
will be
I don't
back
know when.
next week.
Next week, Nadine leaves on Sunday.
We set a goal for ourselves that we were going to record every week, so we should.
Do you want to tell them quickly what we're doing on Friday? The festival. The festival. Like
My
we're working
brain
our
was
first festival together.
Completely blank.
We're working our first festival together.
That's going to be fun.
I know, it's a milestone. Do you want to tell them what you're doing?
I am going to facilitate a Kundalini dance activation, which is so much fun. No, we're not doing that one this time.
No, okay.
No, but it's a very nice kriya. It's the dancing kriya from the Himalayan, and it's amazing, and it's so much fun, and you just feel like a toddler jumping around after.
Yeah.
I always have a lot of fun teaching this one, to be honest. I think everyone always makes a little bit of fun of me.
It's going to be so fun.
Because I'm like giggly and smiley the whole time.
Festivals
So I'm
here in
teaching
Pirate.
that, and you are...
I'm doing a men's circle.
She's
I'm
amazing.
co-facilitating a men's circle with a wonderful man called Roy.
Who's one of my best friends.
Shout out to Roy. Yeah, we're going to be facilitating a men's circle, be holding some space for that, and just trying to keep everything fun and happy and light and not get too heavy and stuff for people. And yeah, it's going to be really fun.
We're going to enjoy the festival together for the rest of the day.
And it's local and it's in Pie. And I'm actually wearing one of the T-shirts, which is the logo for Pie Pants.
The back
I'm going to turn around and you're going to see it. It's going to be amazing. It was designed
by World Rhythm.
It was designed by amazing Jordan. I don't know if he probably won't ever hear this, but yeah, well done Jordan for doing that. So
it looks amazing.
They're really cool T-shirts. And yeah, we're really looking forward to going to the festival. And Saturday we got some stuff to do. And then Sunday, Dean is getting the bus out of Pie, which commences the first month that we're going to spend apart from each other, which is going to be nice and also going to be challenging. We both agreed that we think it's a very good idea.
I think it's
as
good.
much as it's going to be testing.
Actually, it's the same
Can I finish?
as... No.
It's going to be testing, and also it will be it will make us, I think, have a rest and be able to see how we feel being apart and not being around each other all the time. And that's going to be fun, I think, for us as a couple to experience that and just have time to be on our own again. Because the next few years are probably going to be super crazy for us. And who knows, maybe this is something that we'll really enjoy. And next year, we'll do the same thing. Maybe we'll have some time apart, or who knows, I'm going into it with a completely open mind. I know I'm going to miss you, obviously. Like, I'm going to miss cuddling and your amazing, amazing cooking. She's so good at cooking. And yeah, I'm going to miss you a lot. This will probably be the last podcast before you leave, right? So actually, maybe the next one will be back online again.
Yeah, the next one will be back online
The
again.
next one will be back online again, which
But
will be
what I
fun.
wanted to say is that it's actually also kind of a rest. It allows us to integrate and to be and to see how we feel before we start this new chapter, which is indeed very healthy. But right now, I'm just grumpy about it.
Yeah. Here, Messa.
Let me be.
Hey, high five.
Have a good day.
High five. We love you guys. See you later. Speak to you soon. Bye-bye.